What's up, y'all? So, today we're going to talk a little bit about, I had an original topic in mind, but I joined these different Facebook spirituality groups, and I noticed that a lot of people are, because it's one thing to start on your spiritual journey and start manifesting things in your life, but then it's another thing to get rid of the previous pain and the previous hurt. And with doing that comes, you have to acknowledge it. Okay, so I don't want to misinform anyone to make them believe that whatever issues that you had prior to trying to expand your consciousness are irrelevant, because the past has a way of hunting you. Even though on a more conscious level, we understand that this is a time-spaced reality. So time is an illusion. So we do know that, but a lot of the hurt is not so much based on the time it happened or the time from which it happened, but it's more so just the impact that it's had on the soul, on the subconscious mind, which allowed or aided in the mishandling of the subconscious mind by the government, or the people who hold certain positions of authority. So I do want to speak real quick about acknowledging these things. If you have any hurt that you're holding on to from a childhood experience, those are things, or even if you don't know what it is, you can feel a emptiness without knowing off the top of your head what it is, what it stems from. But when you really are ready to elevate your consciousness in a way to where you're not hindered by anything, not even your own ways of thinking, when you're to a point where you're ready to do that, you're going to be inspired to really search and really think about, okay, where does this space of emptiness come from? Why do I feel so empty? Where did it go wrong? And you know yourself, and so you know what type of impacts created a certain level of resistance in your just your whole way of thinking, of evolving. So you know, with enough deliberate thought, a lot of people want to kind of sweep it under the rug, and they don't really want to address it, because it's difficult. It can be very, very difficult. And a lot of people don't want to deal with those emotions right off. But what I will tell you is that if you want to elevate your consciousness, that is pivotal. You have to do that. You have to do that work first. There are definitely, and I recommend Young Pharaoh for anybody who's trying to expand their consciousness as well, because he articulates very well, and he has this stuff down to a science. Young Pharaoh, look him up, and he speaks on how there's different levels to this shift. It's different levels, and you guys have to be mindful of the level of which you want to be on, so that you're able to ascend from the level that you are now on, or have been, staying at a consistent rate on. And whether you know why, or whether you don't, or whether you feel like you don't want to do the work, whether you feel like it's not necessary, I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely necessary for you to get to the root of any problems that you have before elevation. Because as I spoke before, what's going to happen is, if you have these different barriers, okay, if you have these different, these lower levels of vibration, then when you try to elevate, if you try to skip one of the steps to this shift, you're just going to bounce. You're not going to, not even bounce, but you're not going to receive the message. As I said before in my Jesus Christ teachings video, you're not going to be able to receive the message. The message is too large for you to receive. You will only be able to receive a portion of it, because you have not practiced raising your vibration enough to become a vibrational match to that of which you seek. So if you want more from yourself, if you want more out of life, if you just want more in general, if you want more for your kids, if you want more for your loved ones, It starts with you. And we're not limited to any ways but the ways of our thinking. That's what you need to know. Set the intent. Set the intent. And I will preach this until I'm blue in the face, which will never happen. So I'm going to be preaching this. I will preach this, and I will never get tired of trying to relay this message to anybody, because hurt people hurt people. They just do, because that's what they match up with. That's what they line up with. All of that hurt that you're carrying around, all of that frustration, all of that sadness, all of that hopelessness. And I do want to speak on, since I'm on the topic of addressing and confronting your demons or your vibrations, which are holding you back to elevate. I do want to talk a little bit about devils and demons. Okay. First of all, let's start with the devil. Just as I stated before, God is all that is. So you cannot confine it, such an infinite source. You cannot confine it within the restriction of a gender, a particular event. You cannot confine it to a certain spirit. You can't confine it. So just like with that, the entity that we consider to be the devil is made up of a collective consciousness of lower vibrations, the lowest of the lowest vibrations. It is a collective consciousness that forcefully moves and makes its way throughout the universe. So the devil can be you. The devil can be me. It all boils down to the levels of vibrations. So the devil, if people feel like the devil is coming to attack them, or the devil don't want to see them win, or the devil, they need to reevaluate their consciousness. Because a lot of that belief stems from the fear that they put into the movies, put into our Bibles, put into the different teachings. So a lot of that stems from the programming. You think that the devil is a he. You think that the devil is this big red entity with horns. However you feel like he is. That's the way most of them portray who the devil is. The devil does not have any specific qualities. Not qualities. It doesn't have any specific features. It comes in all kind of forms. Okay? Sometimes the devil is itself consciousness, negative consciousness, lower vibrational consciousness. If that is attacking you, then that speaks volume as to where your mentality is. That speaks volume to what you're allowing inside of your subconscious mind. That speaks volume to the person that you are. If you are in a position to say, oh, the devil did that, or the devil just won't let me win, the devil just won't let me, that is something that you need to work on. You are in control of your own destiny. No devil in hell. Okay? Nobody down the street, nobody at the church house, nobody else is responsible for your final destination, for your thought process, for your way of thinking. Nobody is in control of that, but ultimately you. And once you figure it out, you won't even allow anybody else to force that way of thinking on you. You look at things in such a different light when you're enlightened, or when you're striving to become enlightened. And I really don't want to have anybody thinking that, first of all, a lot of people are and I just want to word this correctly. A lot of people are willing. They're willing. A lot of people are willing to ascend from this third dimension. A lot of people are willing to do that, but they don't know how. They don't know where to start. Okay? And then when you tell them that it starts with them, and when you tell them that everything that's happening to them, they can no longer blame on an outside source, then a lot of them feel like it's a crock of bull. A lot of them don't feel like, because a lot of people feel like, well, if I create my own reality, I can't create my own reality, because if I did, I never would have created a situation where I was abused. I never would have created a situation where I was taken advantage of. I never would have created a situation where somebody was constantly stealing from me, or, down talking me, ridiculing me for my success, or, what you feel like is a level of success. Success is whatever you feel like it is. I cleaned up my house with my closets and everything the other day, and I felt very successful with doing that. So success is not always a bunch of money and the perfect career. Success is whatever you want it to be. So a lot of people feel like because of that, they don't believe that they create their own reality when you tell them to really look within at all of the messed up stuff that's been happening to them. They don't believe that. But what they don't understand, as I explained before, is that no, you didn't consciously make the decision to get beat up or taken advantage of or have this illness. You didn't consciously make a decision of that. No. It's subconscious. It is the train of thought, the wavelength that train of thought, the frequency that train of thought operates on. The frequency that train of thought, those trains of thoughts operate on, are that of betrayal, disappointments, letdowns, being taken advantage of. So no. You wouldn't say that. You would not say that. But until a person really understands that, then they put up a form of defense. They become very defensive because they feel like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you telling somebody that's been dealt, and I want to also say this because somebody brought it to my attention. I did speak on cancer being a choice. So somebody spoke on the St. Jude kids, the kids who are being cured for cancer there. Somebody said, and I kind of figured that it was going to happen, but somebody made commentary on, they asked the question, how is it the kid's fault? How is it the kid's fault? So you're telling me that the kid created the reality to have cancer. Understand that a child is not in a position to consciously raise their awareness. Now, children are naturally, subconsciously intuitive beings. That's why a lot of the times we feel like, oh, they must have been here before. They've been here before. They know too much. A lot of the times we do feel like that. And that's only because they haven't been as programmed as the adults or the teenagers. Life hasn't found its way of fully penetrating yet. So a kid will come up to you and say, I'm going to be an astronaut, or I'm going to be the next Michelle Obama, or I'm going to be, and the parent gets in the way by asking, how you going to do that? Now you forcing the child to think about how without allowing nature to take its course and ascend that child based off the belief that they have. They are very creative at heart. They're very innovative. They're very intuitive. They're very honest. So back to the question of the St. Jude kids having cancer and them creating it. Okay, so the way this manifests is, as I was speaking before on people who offer sloppy vibrations, the child is not offering sloppy vibrations consciously, they didn't make the decision to consciously offer sloppy vibrations. By default, they're offering sloppy vibrations because the person before them, their mother or whoever's raising them, whatever environment they're being raised in, they're picking up on those vibrations by default because they're not elevated in their way of thinking yet. Nobody taught them how to, they're more intuitive. They really are. So if you have someone who is consciously awake, raising their children in the same mannerism of which, we light workers, in the same way that we're directed towards, or in the same way that we're creating our reality be. If you have somebody that's raising a child in that type of environment, that child will thrive. Okay? If you have somebody who is operating on lower levels of consciousness that's raising a child, they offer sloppy vibrations. Therefore, the child picks up all of those uncertainties and uneasy feelings and feelings of defeat and feelings of discouragement. Naturally, they become a product of their environment. Okay, so now they're picking up on these sloppy vibrations that was handed down to them by default. And they can't accept or reject it. Well, they can't reject it. All they can do is accept it and absorb it as a sponge would, because we know kids absorb everything. Everything. That's why you have to watch what you say around your kids, because when they go to repeat it, a lot of us, in our messed up ways of thinking, they go to repeat what they heard mama say. Now they finna get a whooping. But they took that on as their own because that's all they know. That's what they're around. So they take that on, whether it's a cuss word, a belief system, whether it's a dance, whether it's whatever they feel about themselves, the overall effect that it has on a child lands them in a position to become a vibrational match with that of cancer, with that of abandonment, with that of unfortunate situations. Okay, so when you're elevated enough in your consciousness, you won't add meaning to everything. So just because the child has cancer now, that doesn't necessarily mean, from a higher point of consciousness, that does not mean that that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Okay? A lot of those children that I see with cancer, a lot of them are happy. A lot of them are happy. A lot of them are happy. But then you have a lot who are also confused and they don't know why them. Why is this happening? When will it be over? When, they have a lot of questions. So that is how a child creates. Not even create, because they're not deliberately creating. Somebody else is creating their reality for them. Okay? Somebody else is creating their reality for them, and it all ties in, all of the AIDS, any type of illness, any type of STD, any type of virus, those things stem from hanging around at lower levels of consciousness, lower levels of vibrations. So the devil is not coming to attack you. There's not an outside force that's coming to attack you that you cannot resist if you discipline your mind enough to resist it. It is not out of your control. Okay? It is not something to be scared of. It is something to work on. It is something to dedicate your every moment of every second to. It is something to dedicate not only to yourself, for the betterment of yourself, but to help raise other people's awareness too. Because once you get a hold of some information, all you want to do is pass it on. All you want to do is pass it on. And if you don't want to pass it on and you want to keep it to yourself, you didn't get the fullness of that message. So you have to check yourself at all times. At all times, you have to be able to take responsibility for yourself, your shortcomings, and your reality. You have to. Can't blame anybody else. The time for that is over. That does not serve you much. You do not get anywhere blaming someone else or something else for the trajectory of your life. You don't get to do that. You do not get to do that. So, if I missed the point, if I got sloppy with my message, comment down below. I will be actually, I had another video that I wanted to do, but I wanted to speak that because it was, somebody sent me, when I got sent those couple questions, I just was like, I need to do a video on it because I got about 4 more subscribers. So thank y'all. If y'all just subscribed, thank y'all so much. Y'all can comment down below if y'all want me to talk about something in particular. If not, just continue to send the questions and I will answer them on my video. So that's all for now.